Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to show you guys how to cut up a 10-pound bag of chicken leg quarter. It was a great deal. We got it for $4.99. So we're going to show you guys how to cut it up to get some curry chicken, brown stew chicken, and also drumsticks and thighs. So it's a great buy. A lot of the time you see it in the store. A lot of people don't know what to do with it. It has many usage. You could just throw them on the grill, or you could just do drumsticks or thighs. But today we're going to focus on just cutting them up for curry and brown stew, because a lot of times if you're having a party or a get together, it just really makes sense to just buy the 10-pound bag of leg quarter versus trying to buy a bunch of whole chickens, because this is 10 pounds and it's only $4.99. Sometimes you might catch it $7.99, but it goes on sale quite often. I've even seen it buy one get one free. So pretty much they're just chicken leg quarters just in a bag. So they're not really clean, so you're going to have to do a little bit of work. So that's why it's kind of so cheap. But if you don't mind doing a little bit of work, you could come out saving a lot of money and getting a lot of chicken out of it. So just regular chicken leg quarters. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to show you how to cut them up, and try to use a cleaver. You can use a regular knife, but the weight behind the cleaver is definitely going to help. So you see that line? Once you follow that line between the drumsticks and the thigh, you're going to get a clean cut every single time. And then you just want to make one chop in between the drumstick and separate it. Then separate the thigh, one chop it down the middle. And there you go. So that's kind of how you do small pieces for the curry. Right down the middle. And try not to hold it when you're chopping down, because sometimes, when you're swinging the cleaver, it's so heavy, it might not go in the direction that you want it to go. So you should try to be careful of that when you're swinging the cleaver, that you don't end up chopping it in the wrong direction, the way you're trying to go. So you want to keep that in mind. And it's definitely a great way to save a lot of money, especially if you're having a party or a get together where you're going to need a lot of chicken. So just right down the middle, that'll be your drumstick. And once you follow that line, you're going to get your drumstick, because in order, you probably have to buy like at least 4 or 5 chickens just to end up with the same amount of chicken you're going to get. And it's going to cost you way more money. So it's just cheaper to just get the bag leg quarters. So that's what happens if you miss that fat line. It's like a guide pretty much of the separation every single time. So the first one we did, so that's what I mean by you have to do a little bit of work. So this one we're doing now is the brown stew. As you can see, the brown stew is a lot bigger than the curry. So pretty much just one chop. Crack the drumstick. You don't really got to necessarily separate it. Then just split the thigh in two. Sometimes if it's really small, you don't have to cut it, because with brown stew you want it to be bigger than curry. So just chop it, then chop the thigh on the back in two. There you go. Trim a little bit of the fat off, and that's how your brown stew would look. And we're gonna go ahead and do one more. So that's kind of how you can save yourself a lot of money. It's quite easy. You can do it at home. A lot of time you go to the store, they will charge you to cut it, or they don't want to cut it. Or sometimes if they cut it wrong. So at least this way, when you're cutting at home, you can kind of get it the way that you want, the size you want, and it's going to be cut correctly every single time, because you're doing it. Nobody's going to do something better for you than yourself, obviously. So this would be the best way to cut your chicken leg quarters at home. So just one, and then cut it one more time, and just chop the drumstick. You don't necessarily have to separate it. And if it comes off small, you add it to your curry pile. And this way you could store this into like 3 or 4 different freezer bags and use them in different time that you trying to make your chicken curry, or you making soup or brown stew. So you're going to end up with a lot of chicken out of this 1 10-pound bag. So it's a great way to save a lot of money and end up with a lot of chicken for a party or just an event. So this is the way how you do it if you come across it at your local grocery store. Is just to take it home, chop it up. You like I said, I have a video showing you how to separate into drumsticks and thighs. So after we finished cutting up the one for brown stew and the one for curry, we still had 4 chicken leg quarter left over. So now I'm going to show you how to separate it if you're just looking for drumsticks and thighs. So what you want to do is just follow this line of fat. It's like a guide. Once you follow that line every time, you're going to separate your drumsticks from your thighs. Now you want to separate the back from the thigh. All right, because the back is still connected to the thigh. So what you want to do is get your knife up underneath it, and then once you get to the end, you want to tilt your knife a little bit, so that way you can separate the back off the thigh. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Once you get another thigh, follow that line. It's like a guide. It's like a map. Once you follow the line, you're going to go through every single time. Then put the knife up underneath the back. Okay, so once you do that, you don't cut down, because if you cut down, you're going to run into the thigh bone, and then you won't be able to separate the back. So what you want to do is get a knife from underneath and then tilt the knife, and then you're going to separate the thigh from the chicken back. Same concept, just follow that fat line. You see, if you miss it and you don't follow that line, it's going to be hard for you to separate from the thigh. So what you want to do, put your knife up underneath it, up underneath the back side, and then just separate it. Once you follow that, it's going to be a clean cut every single time. One more time, follow the fat line right through. And that's your chicken thigh with the back on. But we want to take the back off to make it more pretty. I just leave the back on, but some people don't like the chicken back. So for pretty much for $4.99, we end up with chicken for brown stew, chicken for curry, your chicken drumsticks, your thick chicken thighs, and chicken back. So we got all that chicken out of a 10-pound bag of leg quarter. So pretty much you could freezer bag this into like drumsticks or thighs, or you could do like half brown stew, half curry. The chicken back you could save to make chicken soup, or you could use for chicken stock. So it's a great buy when you come across a chicken leg quarter if you know how to break it down. That's why I did this video, and it came out great. So we end up saving a lot of money with a lot of chicken. And like I said, we're going to freeze them individually and use them at different times. So we just worked out. So if you come across it in your local grocery store or wherever you shop, your meat store, definitely pick it up. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.